Welcome to the Untriggered Parenting Podcast. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Untriggered Parenting with me, Paula Sampson Lawrence. I have been away for a week off the podcast. I took myself off to Paris for a few days, all in the name of self-care. And so I thought on the first episode back, I would sort of unpack it because it can seem sort of it's a bit of a buzzword at the moment, self-care, and it can seem so frivolous in terms of, you think of facials and massages and, lying in the bath in lots of bubbles. And I just think self-care goes much, much deeper than that. So I just wanted to kind of talk about that this week on the podcast. I think as parents, and particularly mothers, we're the backbone of the family. We're the one who takes care of everyone and everything. And it can be easy to forget about taking care of ourselves. And it's so important, self-care. It's such an important part of being a mum. And, it can help you stay focused. It re-energizes you, and it's a healthy, practice to regularly do, for your physical health, for your own mental health. But I understand, with family demands, it can be really tricky to carve out that time. And, me going away, it was the first time I've actually been away from my kids in terms of they haven't been on a school trip, or I haven't been in hospital having another baby. It's the first time that I, mum, has taken myself away from them willingly and by choice, and kind of gone off and done something, without them. So it was a bit different. And but I thought, I'm facing 6 weeks of school holidays, with them full time, which is fine. I love, I enjoy being with my kids, but it is full on. It's all day, every day for 6 weeks. And I had this kind of pocket of time and the opportunity to take a few days away. And I thought, I'm going to take it. And I did. And it was literally the best thing I've ever done for myself. And I think that I just wanted to unpack some of the feelings and thoughts behind self-care. And I think the first thing is that whole thing of self-care being selfish, which it isn't, obviously. It's because taking care of yourself is essential for being able to take care of your family and your other responsibilities. Again, like I say, you don't have to make it a big thing of planning a trip, going away, spending any money. A few minutes of self-care each day can help reduce stress, improve your mood, improve your physical health. So a few minutes of silence, meditation, taking a nap if you can, going for a walk. These things are so important for your mental and your physical health. And I think it's building it into your day and just taking a few minutes to yourself each day, even if it's just 10 minutes. If 10 minutes is all you can manage, then 10 minutes is what you should give yourself, And for example, when the kids were at school, it can be easy to run around thinking you've got 6 hours when they're at school, you've got to do some work, you've got this chores to do, you've got these errands, and you can kind of work yourself right up till the time you need to go and pick them up from school. And I made a decision that I was going to stop running around or working, whatever I was doing, an hour before I needed to go and get the kids. So I was going to take that hour and just have silence, or drink a cup of tea in peace, or just sit down and read a book, scroll social media, something for myself for that 1 hour. I realized that there was just no need to go back to back to back to things, and just without, non-stop, just going from this activity to that activity to that activity, then pick up the kids and then do dinner, and then, just give yourself, just carve out some time in the middle of the day just to stop everything and take stock of yourself, be with yourself for a little bit, have some calm and quiet, and it makes such a difference, to your day. So I would suggest you kind of try that by just carving out a little bit of time each day, and just take a few moments to yourself, no matter what time of day it is. Maybe you prefer to do it early in the morning, or carve out a little bit of time at lunchtime, or even in the evening, whichever one works for you. It's so important to do that. And, make it something that's structured, so not just ad hoc. Make time for regular exercise, and make time for getting enough sleep. Set your phone that, at this time I turn everything off and I lie down and go to bed. Plan a healthy diet, make time for your hobbies and all the things that you enjoy doing. Because I think with that, when you become a mum, sometimes it's so easy to forget the things that you enjoy doing, the books you like to read, the music that you like to listen to. It can all kind of fall by the wayside. And it seems that because your time is so limited, you feel as if the things that you do has to be, meaningful or worth something, or working towards something. But, why can't we just do things just for fun? Not everything we do has to be some sort of, it needs to have some sort of outcome. If you want to paint, go and paint. You didn't have to be aiming to be Picasso. If you enjoy painting and it's something that distresses you, then you should go and paint. Because I think I can struggle with that, where I'm thinking, what am I doing this activity for? What's the, outcome? What is the end goal? But what if there is no end goal? What if I'm just doing it because I like it and it's fun? And that should be enough. I think that kind of comes out of the whole hustle culture and, always working towards something. And, it's okay to just do something because you like it, because it's fun, it distresses you, and not have it be some sort of side hustle or something that's got a particular end goal in mind. I think that, self-care can also include making time for relationships, friendships, connecting with your friends and family, your partner, help you feel supported. And it gives you a much needed break from just being a parent all the time. Nurturing those other relationships in your life, those are so important too. And taking time for yourself can help you be a better parent. When you switch off for a little bit of time, whether it's 10 minutes a day, that can then help you focus on what you need to do for the rest of the day, and it re-energizes you, and it makes you feel like you've taken that time for yourself, that you haven't lost yourself in parenting, which can be so easy to do. The other thing that needs to be discussed, I think, in terms of self-care is some of the barriers, there that you have to overcome to actually make the time for self-care. For example, a lack of time is a big one. If you've got lots of demand on your time, and which many of us have as parents, working, taking care of kids, all that entails, and that can be the biggest barrier to self-care for parents. It's hard to find time to do something just for ourselves when you've got a whole timetable, a whole schedule of things that your children need to be, places they need to get to, clubs, appointments, that kind of thing. So there's so much on your schedule already that it's hard to, carve out that time, which is why I think it's so important to make it a daily sort of practice, so that you don't miss out on it. It should be part of your schedule, not an ad hoc when there's time, because the truth is there might never be time, So it's best to incorporate it into your daily routine. So again, something so simple as taking a few minutes in the morning to stretch, stopping for half an hour in the middle of the day and just sitting down and drinking your tea, little things like that. That's the best way, I think, to combat the barrier of lack of time. The other thing is guilt. We all know there's mum guilt. There's mum guilt for everything, and then we can sometimes feel guilty about taking time away from our children. I felt guilty getting on a plane and leaving them behind when part of me said, why don't we just all go together? But I knew that I was doing it for a reason, and that reason was to just have some time back for myself. And and reminding myself that it's important to take care of myself, and that is being a good parent, because then I can come back better for them. And I'm also setting them a good example of how to have a healthy family dynamic, how to show them to take breaks and to look after themselves, and to, they will then practice self-care, hopefully, because I've modeled it to them, which is so important. The other thing is financial constraints. I think that particularly when we see these self-care activities that need to be paid for, like I said at the beginning, things like massages or facials, people can see that as an additional barrier, which is why, again, it's best to build it in throughout your day. Going for a walk doesn't cost you anything. If you want to do some stretching or yoga or something in the living room, doesn't cost you anything. Just go on YouTube and stream a video, So it's there's lots of things you can do without it being a thing that costs you money. The other thing, and I think this is a big one, is lack of support. It can be difficult to prioritize self-care if you don't have a supportive partner or family. Yeah, I could only go to Paris because there was obviously somebody to look after my children. If I didn't have that, then obviously I wouldn't have been able to go. And, so it is difficult if you haven't got that support system. Many of us are raising children without a village, without, supportive people around us. But if you can find that support system outside of your family, friends, support groups, childcare, having someone to talk to even who understands your struggles can make a big difference in your ability to prioritize your own needs. The other thing is, I know many parents, we feel overwhelmed by parenting, by the demands of parenting, and it can make it difficult to find the motivation to even take care of yourself. To combat this, if we can break down your self-care activities into small, achievable goals, if you start with something simple, like I said before, then it's not going to seem like it's something else to add to your list. It's something else that you've got to go and do. So taking time out doesn't have to overwhelm you. The last thing you want to do is add yet another thing to your list. That's definitely not the point. The point is to give you sort of or something that at least fulfills yourself and not other people. And finally, I wanted to just touch on how self-care is an important part of managing triggers, particularly for people who have experienced trauma. Triggers can be anything from a certain sound or smell to a person or situation that reminds you of a traumatic experience. So for those who have experienced trauma or who find themselves easily triggered, then self-care can help you manage these triggers and sort of help you reduce the intensity of the emotional response that you might be having. So I hope after today you will, give yourself that permission to implement consistent self-care into your daily schedule if you haven't done already, and really make it a priority to take care of your own physical and emotional needs, because the better you're feeling, the more whole you're feeling, the more rested you are, then the better you are going to be for your family. We need to create a sense of balance in our lives, don't we? So, and that's the only way that you can be the very best parent that you can be. And if no one has told you today, you're doing a great job and I'm proud of you. See you next time.